Well, it's time to head to South Australia and link up with James Jordan. James, a very good morning to you. Brendan Popwell here from trackside in New Zealand, and I'm sure you're looking forward to a good day of racing coming up out of Morphettville.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Obviously the third day of our carnival as far as Group 1s are concerned. So we've got the Goodwood today, pretty good undercard as well. Lots of interstate influences this time of year with the Victorians. Got a New Zealand horse as well in the Fillies Classic, Lanarcord, a filly you know about, I'm sure. So it'll be a good day.
Yeah, we've just spoken to Stephen Nicholas actually about Lanarcord, and he gave a good push with how she's progressed and everything going about her run last time to the races. The indicators were there, James, that she can run a good race with a better draw today over more distance.
Yeah, she was strong late, I thought, last start, and obviously getting up in trip's going to help her. She was good in the Oaks. I actually liked the way she went from a maiden to a Group 2 to a Group 1 placing. It's a really good progression for a horse like that. So she's a filly I've got some time for. It's going to be a good race today. Flexible comes out of the same race. It was unlucky. Arguably could have won. Just Willie Pike made a couple of decisions sort of to come inside, then outside, then inside again of Steinem, and hit the line quite strongly. Probably the strongest horse late in that race. So I think Flexible's the one to beat, but certainly expecting Lanarcord to run a good race. You can see it out wide there in the blue cap. It was noticeably good the last furlong.
Is that the form reference, that race? Do you believe, JJ, or is it? It's hard to sort of line up some of these other different form lines heading into this race.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a funny race. Going back the last sort of 4 years, two of the winners in 2017 and 18 both came out of the Oaks. The last couple of years, they come out of sort of off-Broadway races. We had one out of a benchmark 60 at the Provincials, another one out of a benchmark 64 at Ballarat in Victoria. So you don't necessarily have to come through the better races, but I think this year, Flexible and Lanarcord coming through the Oaks, that's the premier form line for mine.
All right, and they're the two plays in the race?
I think so. That's what I'll be doing. I think Flexible, I didn't actually make it a suggested bet necessarily. Flexible. It's into sort of 260 now, which I reckon is probably short enough. I've got it marked 295, but I think it's the one to beat. Lanarcord, I've still got marked shorter. I've got it about 525 with 6 to 650 available. So if I had to have one bet at the prices, I'd probably just back Lanarcord. But if Flexible drifts out, I can definitely back her too.
All right then. Well, let's move on to the Goodwood, race number 8, Group 1 over 1,200 metres. Look, the obvious horse to talk about here is Gytrash, and I just want to bring you in here, James, about this horse. He's a horse that returns from bone chips. He's $3s and $1.38. We all know what he's done in his class and ability, but what about him for today's race, the Goodwood? What's your feeling on Gytrash?
I'm feeling it's a funny one because I don't think they would run him unless they were happy with him. He's got an Everest knocking on the door come springtime, so you don't really want to put in bad runs. It can sort of hurt your chances of getting a slot. And he'd be, I reckon, one of the first they'd want to sign up, obviously racing so well last spring. But if the problem with this race is if he turns up, he'll win. You'd love for him to be sort of second or third pick and then have that cloud about the injury as well. You could say stay away from it. But you can't really pot him because if he does turn up, he'll probably beat them. I still think at the prices he won't get me, not at 310. I think he's probably, given the injury, I'd probably need 450 to want to back him. So I won't be on him. I think it's a hard one to actually find a bet in. I think Savatoux XL, which won't actually make my numbers, but it's over the odds and it's your leader. It's not hopeless. There's a couple of 3-year-olds that have got some upside. Obviously, Behemoth's a genuine Group 1 horse as well. I'll end up putting Behemoth on top because I know he's going well, and I think he's been targeted at this. And if he turns up and Gytrash doesn't quite turn up, then I reckon Behemoth will win. So I've sort of gone 1, 9, 2 and 8, but it's a hard one to find a bet in. I wouldn't discount the 6 Savatoux XL at a decent price.
Yeah, okay, Savatoux XL at a good price too, at around $16 at the moment here in New Zealand. Well, I know you are liking one on the program, and we do have to wait for the last race, but that's okay. It doesn't matter when we have to wait for it, as long as it can roll home, James. And talk us through Ambidazzle at $3.90 and $1.75.
I think it's good if you back the winner in the last race. You're more of a chance of going home with something in your pocket rather than tipping your best bet in the race one. I think Ambidazzle's found a really good race here. I actually don't mind that it's drawn out wide. It's drawn 14, but it's race 9 on the program. I reckon they'll get out wide in the straight. This is its most recent run. It got beaten by Lady Dunmore, who it meets in this race. The difference was Lady Dunmore this day, ridden by Craig Williams. You can see Ambidazzle's back inside them and can't quite get a run. Probably held up for maybe 75 metres, 100 metres. And when it does get the split, she actually sprints quite well. I think she sprints as well as the winner. But just didn't quite get the gap when she needed it. I think Craig Williams going on today is a massive plus for Ambidazzle. So I was happy to make it the best on the program. It's been quite well backed. It was sort of $5.50 early. It's into $3.84 now, but I still think it's going to be very hard to beat. I've got it marked just under that $4 quote. So happy to make Ambidazzle the best on the program.
Nice one. Okay, we've marked that down. Is there any other bets throughout the day that you're liking, James?
Oh, I think Smoke and Val is a really good chance in race 4 at about a $7 quote. I think Zaydani's got a great chance as well in race number 6 to get each way odds. I think the best, though, comes up in the last, as I touched on. Ambi Dazzle for mine. I think she finds a very winnable race.